Today I'm going through just the books that I'll be reading for March. So here is the collection that I pulled off the shelf that decided my fate for the next few months. Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I've had this book and I remember reading the first one and I loved it. And so I actually went and got like the sprayed edge, you know, and then I gifted my first copy to someone else. I was like, read this book, it's great. So I already knew I was going to like this one, but I wanted to read it again. So that's Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree, and I'll go ahead and read you the synopsis. After a lifetime of bounties and bloodshed, Viv is hanging up her sword for the last time. The battle-weary orc aims to start fresh, opening the first-ever coffee shop in the city of Thune. But Viv's rivals, old and new, stand in her way of success, not to mention the fact that no one has the faintest idea what coffee actually is. If Viv wants to put the blade behind her and make her plans a reality, she won't be able to go it alone. But the true reward of an uncharted paths are that travelers that you meet along the way, and whether dawned together by ancient magic, a flaky pastry, or fresh brewed coffee, they may become partners, family, and something deeper than she ever could have dreamed. And that is Legends and Lattes, the first story of Viv the Orc, and this is kind of like her retirement story. So I'm excited for that one. The second book that I'll be reading for March is Bookshops and Bonedust. And this one is also by Travis Baldree, and it is also a story of Viv, I do believe. So here's the second one. Viv's career with the notorious mercenaries company, Rackman Ravens, isn't going as planned. Wounded during a hunt for a powerful necromancer, she's packed off against her will to recuperate in a sleepy beach town of Merk. So far from action that she's worried she'll never be able to return to it. What's a thwarted soldier or fortune to do? Spending hours at a billeraged bookshop in the company of its foul-mouthed proprietor is the last thing Viv would have predicted, but it may be both exactly what she needs and the seed of change she couldn't possibly imagine. Still, adventuring isn't all far away. A suspicious traveler in gray, a gnome with a chip on her shoulder, a summer fling, and an improbable number of skeletons prove Merk to be more eventful than Viv could ever have expected. So this was a story of Viv before she retired, I'm assuming, and so it'll be fun to see us get plopped into one of her adventures and see if it's as cozy as the first one or not. The third one from Travis Baldree is Brigands and Breadknives, and this is number 3, and I do believe that this is when one of her friends also decides to either move or retire, and she moves to Thune, he or she moves to Thune to be close to Viv, but I don't think that they are selling coffee. I think they're selling something else. So here is the synopsis for Brigands and Breadknives, number 3. Fern has weathered the stillness and storms of bookseller's life for decades, but now in the face of crippling ennui, transplants herself to the city of Thune to hang out her shingles beside a long-absent friend's coffee shop. What could be better pairing? Surely a charming renovative montage will cure what ails her. If only things were so simple. If turns out that fixing your life isn't a one-time prospect, nor as easy as changing the scenery or a licking of the paint. A drunken and desperate knight sees the Ratkins walking far from home in a company of a legendary warrior, an outlaw, a goblin with fondness for silverware, and an absolutely thumping hangover. As together they fend off a rogue gallery of ne'er-do-wellers trying to claim the bounty of the goblin's head, Fern might find the courage to step off the beaten path in order to find her true self. So this sounds like it may be the bookseller that she meets in this one, coming to find a new adventure with Viv. So that sounds super cute, super fun. The book club book, that's also on the TBR. I'm going to move these so it stops making the table wobble. I didn't know it was going to wobble. The next one is The Empress by Kristin Cass, and there is a Discord for this if you want to join the book club. Also on Fridays, every Friday, I'll be doing a check-in with you guys, be like, hey, how you doing? And then I'll read however many chapters with you. I'm going to try and have all those sprints on there. So it's like you'll be able to sprint the whole book with me. Read the whole book with me if you want. And then at the end of the chapters, I'll pop in and talk to you. And you can put in the comments. Sometimes they're going to be lives. Most of the time they're probably going to be pre-recorded just to make sure they actually happen on Fridays. So for this month, we're reading The Empress by Kristin Cass. And here is the synopsis on the back. The arcanes aren't just figures in the tarot cards. They're real, terrifyingly real. That's what I learned when I found a tarot card in the snow was yanked from my world and into Towerfall. The first thing of people this harsh, cruel realm did was try to kill me. They proved they would have succeeded if Cain hadn't taken me to his hideout in the woods and nursed me back to health. I don't know if I can trust him. He's so hot to be good news. He's too hot to be good news. He's definitely hiding secrets, and I've already seen him kill 2 people to protect me. If I hadn't just been helplessly dumped in his world, the blood on his sword and his dark, brooding mood would have me running in the opposite direction. Right now, convincing the Kingdom of Pentacles that Cain and I are married is my best chance at getting into the palace and back to my own world, because there's something wrong with Towerfall, something deeply, deadly wrong. And if anyone finds out Cain and I aren't really husband and wife, well, then both of us are dead. Wow. So it kind of sounds a little bit like ACOTAR, like, oh, she got sucked into a Fae realm. I don't know if it's a Fae realm, but, and then she has to pretend she's married to somebody she's not, who she barely knows. Barely knows him. We always barely know these guys. So that's The Empress by Kristin Cass, and that is going to be our book club book for March. Every Friday we're checking in. The first Friday is actually tomorrow, and we'll be doing chapters 1 through 5. And then after that, we'll have to do 15 chapters for the second and third week just to finish the book on time, but we can do it. So next one is Weekend in Paris, a novel by Robyn Sisman. And I don't know much about this besides I had a lot of books set in Paris, so I grabbed all the books set in Paris and spread them out. So here is the Weekend in Paris. Small town girl Molly Clearwater moved to London to follow her dream of a fun and fashionable city life. Everything seems to be coming up roses with her boss offered her a perk, a free weekend trip to Paris. Molly's ecstatic until she discovers her boss's idea of business, and she impulsively decides to board a train to Paris on her own. Within moments of stepping onto the cobblestone streets of Paris and making her first friends at her auberge, Molly is swept up in adventure. From infiltrating her boss's business conference in disguise to touring the midnight city of the back of a handsome stranger's motorbike, Molly finds her weekends away from her troubles turning into a voyage of passion and self-discovery that will change her life forever. So it sounds like she's got a skeezy boss, and she's going to go to Paris and take him down. It's a takedown story. So that'll be fun. And then I have the next one is The Lights of Paris by Eleanor Brown. Madeline is trapped by her family's expectations, by her controlling husband, and by her own fears, in an unhappy marriage and a life she never wanted. From the outside, it looks like she has everything, but on the inside, she fears she has nothing that matters. In Madeline's memories, her grandmother, Margie, is the kind of woman she should have been. Elegant, reserved, perfect. But when Madeline finds a diary detailing Margie's bold romantic trip to jazz-age Paris, she meets the grandmother she never knew. A dreamer who defied her strict stad family and spent an exhilarating summer writing in cafes, living on her own, and falling for a charismatic artist. When Madeline's marriage comes apart, she panics, escapes to her hometown, and stays with her critical, disapproving mother. In that unlikely place, shaken by revelance of a long-hidden family secret and inspired by her grandmother's bravery, Madeline creates her own Parisian summer reconnection to her love of painting, cultivating a vibrant circle of creative friends, and finding a kindred spirit in a down-to-earth chef who reminds her to feed both her body and her heart. Though Margie and Madeline's stories, New York Times bestselling author Eleanor Brown explores the joy and risk of living life on your own terms and defying the rules that hold us back from our dreams and becoming the people we were meant to be. That's all The Lights of Paris by Eleanor Brown. After that, we have The Paris Key by Juliet Blackwell. As a girl, Geneva Martin spent the happiest summer of her life in Paris, learning the delicate art of locksmithing at her uncle's side. But since then, living back in the States, she has become more private, more subdued. She has been an observer of life rather than an active participant, holding herself back from those around her, including her soon-to-be ex-husband. Paris never really left Genevieve, and as her marriage crumbles, she finds herself faced with an incredible opportunity to return to the magic city of her youth and take over her late uncle's shop. But as she absorbs all that Parisian culture has to offer, she realizes that the city also holds secrets about her family that could change her forever, and that locked doors can protect you or imprison you, depending on which side of them you stand. Ooh, I've never heard of one of those before. A locksmith. That's cool. That's a cool thing to inherit. So the next one from My Physical TBR is Sliders by Pete Hautman. David can eat an entire 16-inch pepperoni pizza in 4 minutes and 36 seconds, but he'll have to do better if he's going to win the Super Pigorian Bowl pizza eating contest, and he has to win because he actually accidentally put $2,000 on his mom's credit card. David really needs the prize money like yesterday. Training as a competitive eater isn't easy, especially since David also has to watch over his little brother Mal, who would be labeled autistic if their family believed in labels. But maybe David's bottomless appetite isn't his only talent. That I'm not sure if it's going to be disgusting. I'm not sure if like it's going to trigger me because of like they don't believe in diagnosis. That might bother me. We'll see. We'll see how that one goes. Hopefully it's a quick fun read. Hopefully. One more book to add for the TBR for March. It is a book tour that I was accepted for. 30 people are accepted to the book tour. So that means that the author has signed up under the tour company, and the tour company finds bloggers or Instagram people or YouTubers or just book reviewers to review the book for a free copy. So we're not required, myself as a reviewer, I'm not required to give a positive review or a negative review. They just said, here's the book, please give us your honest review. But I generally say like, hey, I was provided a free copy in exchange for an honest review. So I'm not being paid for it. I just received a copy of the audiobook. And authors do this to obviously get their book seen and read by more people, but also to increase their reviews and the posts that are on social media, just kind of like the awareness of their book. So this is for Firebond, a Dragonborn fantasy romance, the Dragonborn Queen series by Lina Ravenhill. So Firebond is the name of the book that I will be reviewing. Here's the synopsis. Not until I was trapped in an abandoned building, surrounded by flesh-eating monsters, terrified and alone. My body was failing, but my mind reached into the void, begging for someone to hear me. Then the door burst open. The man who came for me was the last person I ever expected, my enemy. Strong, fearless, and endlessly captivating, Tywin works for the people who imprisoned me, and I hate him even more because I can't stop staring whenever he shapeshifts. His dragon is black as night, with eyes that pierce my soul. He stops beside me, and I already know I'll fight him until my last breath. In Talaman, war rages between dragon clans. The last queen struggles to hold her throne, and while a deadly disease spreads across the realm, turning her subjects into bloodthirsty beasts, everyone says she's too old to rule. Clans plot, alliances break, and the hunt for a new queen begins. It actually does kind of sound like it could potentially be an enemies to lovers, and the search for a new queen, like, I saw The Witcher. I enjoyed that a lot. So those are the vibes I'm getting. So we'll see if I like the first one, Firebond. I may continue on with the series. But right now, they've just sent me Firebond, the first book, and they sent it in audiobook form. So it shouldn't take me too long to do that. And then I will post my review and try and link all the other bloggers if I'm given that information. March 30th is when I'll have it posted everywhere. So look forward to that. That is the full TBR now for March 2026.